Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our July edition of What's New and What's Next with AI. Today is actually National AI Day. So we had to have a webinar on AI Day. It would not do for us to go by this entire day without having one. So we've got some really cool stuff to talk about and to let you see and hear from someone who's actually out there doing it in the trenches with AI, making really cool stuff. I think you're going to really enjoy hearing Daniel's story. But I want to remind everybody, in case you've maybe missed a couple of our sessions, in the past couple of months, sort of where we've been moving toward is just this reminder that the AI space is changing so rapidly. We are moving very quickly from generative AI to agentic AI. And what that means is that the agentic AI is where AI can do things for us. We may give it a goal, but it determines a plan. It executes. It can build the website for us. It can build the app for us. It can build the voice agent for us. So it really is becoming, very important to kind of keep up to date on these things and how quickly things are progressing. So for today, what I'm going to do is walk through a couple of things and then basically turn it over to Daniel because I want, again, as much time as possible to be devoted to his story and kind of what he's doing and what he's learning. But again, just to recognize the day, July 16 is National AI Day. And what's funny to me is AI had to tell me this because I was not aware of this. But did you know that AI Day was actually created before ChatGPT was even released? It seems like that would be kind of backwards, but yeah, AI Day was created, actually launched in 2021, and of course, ChatGPT was not out until November 30, 2022. But anyway, it's one of those things that it's important, I think, for business owners, especially to start to fully understand and determine how they're going to adopt AI inside of their business operations. Because as we've seen, AI is going to be in everything. It's going to make everything better. I'm still very much an optimist on this. But it's also important to kind of recognize how fast things are changing and do the best we can to keep up to speed. So with that, let me give you a little bit of what's new. It's what's happened literally in the past few days before we get into some of the real deep content. Okay. So the first thing I want to share with you, and if you're a ChatGPT subscriber, you've already seen this, but this happened just last week. ChatGPT had a big announcement and it's got multiple layers to it. So I wanted to take a moment here and share with you some about what that means.
We have a major update from OpenAI. They're merging chat.
All right. You may not have been able to hear that. Let me do the stop share again. I have this issue with Zoom. We have a love-hate relationship. And what happens is it forgets to share my computer audio. So give me one more chance here. And let's see about now.
We have a major update from OpenAI.
Thumbs up if you can hear.
ChatGPT with Codex. Let me show you what that means for you so you can see how powerful this thing is. Okay, so on desktop, there are now 3 ways to use ChatGPT. Chat, Codex, and the newly introduced ChatGPT Work. Quick Chat is the same chat experience you know and love, just now in a sidecar. Codex is still there for developers and better than ever. And Work is a new agent that can take action across your apps and files, stay with the project for hours if needed, and turn a goal into finished work. What do I mean? Well, let me give you an example. This is all powered by OpenAI's latest frontier model, GPT 5.6, which to me has a superpower, UI generation. The problem with AI interface design has been that it's all sort of look the same. Not anymore. I mean, check out some of these examples. It's unreal, but that's not the part that I'm most excited to show you. No, the part that I'm most excited to show you is the future of vibe coding. Check it out. With ChatGPT sites, which can be used in both Codex and Work, you no longer have to worry about authentication, databases, hosting, or deployment. You can now deploy your site in one click just by tagging sites, and it's immediately live on the internet with a shareable URL. That's right. ChatGPT is now completely state-of-the-art at creating artifacts like slides, PDFs, spreadsheets, and other finished work that you can actually use. Rough idea to production-ready results, all in one clean workflow. So download the ChatGPT desktop app today. Start living in the future.
Roberto's great. I love his video content. And I just wish sometimes I could turn down the volume on his background music. But what is so key about this new announcement from ChatGPT is you saw a lot of people are going to be using this tool. and they're going to be using it to do things that previously they could not do. Specifically for small businesses, they're going to be using it to create websites, right? It's making it super easy for anyone with AI to create their own website. And so as you saw him talk about the UI interface, that's really what he was getting at, is it doesn't look like it was all produced by the same tool necessarily. This is going to be one of those things that will give people so many more capabilities than they currently have. And that's why it's such a big deal. So if you're using ChatGPT, you'll notice there's really three layers to it now. And this new layer that Roberto kind of alluded to, I want to dig deeper just for a minute to tell you about ChatGPT work. Because what's happening here is ChatGPT is kind of following the model that Anthropic has done with having Claude Cowork, and Claude Code. ChatGPT now has those three basic branches on its own. But the work tool is really where I think a lot of people are going to spend so much time finding out how AI can really help them produce valuable and meaningful knowledge work, things like documents and spreadsheets and presentations. So take a quick look.
Help me build a go-to-market deck for a new product line covering materials, financial projections, and marketing.
So all these things you'll start to see in your Chat GPT. If you're a paid subscriber, you're going to see some of this stuff already, especially if you have the app. It's eventually going to roll out into the web interface and then mobile, depending on your plan. But why is this such a big deal? Why is this important? This really reinforces the idea I've been trying to tell people that, anything that you do on a computer will eventually be done by AI. And that means that anything that you do, like creating a spreadsheet, writing an email, drafting a document or a report, building a website, all of those things will be done by AI. Computers in the past were built for people to use. Our computers going forward are going to be designed for AI to use. So that's an uncomfortable notion for a lot of people in terms of what does that really mean, but we're already seeing signs of that. That's why in ChatGPT work, for instance, you're going to connect all of your software. You're going to connect your Excel, and you're going to connect PowerPoint. All of the things you want ChatGPT to do, it's going to be able to do those things so that you can go off and do something else, right? Something more valuable, more higher up the stack, if you will. So that's something that's important to note. And of course, there's always the obligatory benchmarking to kind of see where do these models rank in terms of one against the other. There's multiple ways to measure this. I only wanted to throw it in just to let you know that every time a new model comes out, they're going to leapfrog the one before it. This is kind of one of the first times that maybe that didn't quite happen. So ChatGPT 5.6 didn't quite get all the way past Claude Fable 5 from Anthropic, but it came very close. And so this is one of those times where it's just kind of important to understand going forward, your job is going to be to figure out, okay, which model should I use that's best for my particular use case? And there may be a number of criteria that you're going to look at to figure out what that is. And of course, Daniel will talk a little bit about that later as well. Now, ChatGPT, OpenAI was not done with a new model or a series of models and a new platform. They also came out with a new voice model. And this is kind of, again, a big deal because I still think the talking to AI is going to be the more natural way for us to work with these AI assistants. And so GPT Live is a big step in getting us there.
Today, we are announcing the all-new Chat GPT voice, powered by GPT Live 1, a full duplex conversational partner that is the most powerful voice model ever built.
Can you simplify that?
Sure can. Can you explain what a full duplex voice model is?
Yeah, imagine a normal call with a friend. You can listen and talk at the same time. That's full duplex.
We are now pushing voice technology closer to how real people talk to each other, where it can follow interruptions, pauses, corrections, and the natural flow of thinking things out loud.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. If you've not tried it yet, again, if you've got the ChatGPT app, you'll notice it there first. You can also still get to it through your desktop app and through the web. But one of the key things here, and they showed in the demo when this was announced, is the ability to do live translation. So you can actually have a conversation, tell GPT Live or ChatGPT that you want it to translate what you're saying into any number of different languages, and it will do this live in real time. And then you can say, okay, I need you to also translate what is coming back into English. And it, again, it knows how to do that. So it's more than just a new feature. And that's why it's important to think of this one as again, it's a new model. So just like ChatGPT, 5.6 is a new model, GPT Live is a new model. And so what we're going to start to see beyond just the use of this in the app is we're going to see developers start to incorporate this into different tools. So maybe your next tool that you use for GPS navigation, for instance, might have a GPT Live voice capability built in. So all sorts of cool implications around that. Now, sticking on voice for just a second, I wanted to demo this, and I won't take too long, but I just want to show you real quick the possibilities that exist with voice agents. Previously, voice agents were just kind of tricky to set up. There was a lot of things you had to configure. If you wanted it to be able to answer the phone, sometimes that was the biggest hurdle, was trying to get it connected to your phone number. Well, XAI has actually released a new update now to make voice agents incredibly easy to build and also pretty cheap to run. So you're going to start seeing these. If you've not seen them yet, you're going to start seeing more and more businesses. When you call that business, you're going to be talking to or interacting with a voice agent.
XAI just released their voice agent builder, and I'm happy to report that it's actually very good. They advertise you can get a voice agent up and running in under 2 minutes, which is actually true. They have a bunch of different templates and typical use case configurations that you can grab and get a head start. But like every other voice agent of all time, you need to do some tweaking and configuration to make sure that it works for your exact use case. The nice thing though is they make sure that it's like a one-stop shop, right? We're all used to having to connect to a bunch of different connections or VAPI to all sorts of different things. They make sure that these connections are built in and easy to access inside this platform itself. The voices are super good, the latency is really good, and at 5 cents a minute, it is aggressively priced. They provide you a free number if you're in the States, but you can also connect your Twilio account, make API calls, connect to MCP servers, add knowledge bases, all that stuff we're used to. It's just that I've really noticed that they made all of the fiddling that is typical with building out nice voice agents a lot less. They've really taken a lot of the legwork out of it. So I do encourage you to check it out for yourself because I'm actually really happy with what I've seen from them. So it's x.ai/voice. You can try it out for free today. Let me know what you think in the comments.
It's pretty cool. And I'm only just going to take a minute. I'm not going to show you how to build one because, again, I don't want to take all Daniel's time. But I just want to show you real quick an example because I already built one for the Small Business Development Center. So when you actually go to see what this would look like, you can test it, right, really quickly. One of the things you're going to do is give it like a website, and it's going to learn about your business from that website. So if you've got a business and you need a voice agent to answer the phone, here's a super effective way to do it that is very quick and very cheap. So let's take a listen here. And if I've got my microphone configured correctly, looks like it is.
I'm glad to hear your microphone is working well. How can I help you today with the Kentucky SBDC? If you're looking to connect with your local center or have a question about our services, I'm happy to assist.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Can you tell me a little bit more? What do you guys do?
The Kentucky SBDC provides no-cost consulting, training, and resources to help small business owners start, grow, and succeed. I'd be happy to connect you with your local SBDC center for more personalized assistance. Could you tell me which county you're in?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm in London, but I'm looking to connect with a guy. I think his name was Kevin. But y'all have a guy named Kevin?
I'd be happy to help connect you with the right person. London is served by the Southeastern Kentucky SBDC, located right there in London. There's a Kevin Norvell listed with the state office in Lexington, but the local team in London can help connect you if that's who you're looking for. Would you like me to transfer you to
All right, so I'll stop it right there. But I mean, how cool is that? And that literally the only thing I had to give it was I gave it access to the website. I told it a little bit about us. I actually gave it a directory of our staff. And then from that, it's able to answer those questions. The cool thing about being able to set this up is, again, this may have taken you, you may have paid someone hundreds or maybe thousands of dollars to configure a voice agent for you before. Now it's just a matter of logging in, taking about 5 or 10 minutes to give it some basic information, and then doing some tweaking and testing. Of course, there's always that. But XAI, I have to say, has really put all this together in a super nice package. So if that's something you're looking for, check out x.ai/voice to figure out how to build your
XAI
own
just really
voice agent. All right. Now, as part of my introduction to Daniel, I want to share one more video. This is from Boris Cherny. Boris is the creator of Claude Code. And so somebody asked him a really interesting question because this is going to set up Daniel, I think, perfectly. And in this conference, he was asked, is writing software going to be just as easy as texting?
Do you see in the future building software becoming a skill like I know Microsoft Office?
Oh my God, yes, yes, yes. I think it's going to be even more than that. I think it's going to be a skill like, yeah, like I know how to send a text message. In tech history, there's one thing which I think to me is the clearest parallel for what's happening right now. And this is in the 1400s. The printing press. Before the printing press, essentially 10% of the European population was literate. They were often employed by like kings and lords that were not literate. Their job was to read and write. And in the 50 years after the first printing press, there was more literature published in Europe than in the 1,000 years before. And over the same period, the cost of literature, the cost of a book went down like 100x. Over the next few hundred years, literacy globally went up to like 70%. I think the thing that's about to happen, and it's going to be much faster than 50 years, is software will be a thing that is fully democratized, that anyone can do. The best person to write accounting software, I think maybe even today, is not an engineer, it's a really good accountant, because they know the domain really well, and coding is the easy part. It's knowing the domain that's the hard part. I think this is just obviously the future.
Yeah, interesting take. And it does kind of set us up for this topic of vibe coding. So I know we've got some Kentucky fans in the room because I recognize several of you all. So you've probably seen Daniel's work already. He created Big Blue Roulette, which went viral pretty quick. And so he's been a friend of mine for years. I really appreciate him coming on and sharing with us today. So I'm going to introduce Daniel. I'm going to let him take it over and sort of share his story and talk a little bit more about vibe coding and sort of what he's doing now and what he's maybe working on in the future. But Daniel, thank you again for being here. I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, hello everybody. Like Kevin said, my name is Daniel Reeves. I live here in Corbin, Kentucky, and with my wife and my 3 kids. So my life is very calm, as you can imagine. I've known Kevin for a little more than 10 years now, I would say. And Kevin has been a great mentor for me in technology and different kinds of things. He taught me a lot about video editing, which is a fun thing that I get to do as part of my job.
The Padawan has become the master now, Daniel. So
I don't know about that, but so yeah, I work at Emmanuel Baptist Church here in Corbin. And basically what I do is I cover all the production for the church. So I do audio, visual, technical. We have 3 different campuses, and I kind of oversee the technical side of all 3. And then my undergraduate degree is in music, and my master's degree is in theology. And so as it fits, I am talking to you today about AI. Which does not make sense, but that's okay. So kind of before I get into it real heavy, I kind of want to do a demonstration here. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. And then Okay. So as Kevin said, I I had a really weird summer in a good way. Um, I created an app called Big Blue Roulette, and it's just like a kind of a website, and it's a game, and Kentucky fans took it crazy, and I don't know how to code. First of all, I'm learning. You know how some people, when they're learning languages, um, they'll be like learning Spanish, and they'll say, "Yeah, I can understand it, but I can't speak it." And that's kind of where I'm sitting at with coding. When I read code, I can maybe start to get the context and start to understand what it's trying to do. But I don't know how to write code. So that's one of the cool things about the emergence of Claude Code and the things that Kevin has been talking about with ChatGPT. Um, and I'm a technical nerd. I love new tech. I love AI. Um, my basis of AI is a when I was a kid, there was a Disney Channel movie called Smart House. And it was kind of a case study. It was kind of like a a children version of Terminator, you know, like showing us all the dangers of technology. And but I thought it was the coolest thing, just having this house that could do the menial things for you. Um, so I've always been super interested in tech. And a couple of years ago, I kind of saw a gap in the market. I'm a huge UK fan. Um, I've got some Kentucky pictures on the wall back here. I'm wearing a nice Kentucky polo right now. Um, and I I love all of the sports. Like I'm a big fan of basketball and football, as most people are, but I like to follow baseball, I like to follow softball, all of those. And I kind of noticed that there was a little gap in how the coverage for baseball and softball in college was happening. And I dare you right now, or well, during the season. Now the season's over, so it doesn't make a ton of sense right now. But if you were to go onto the ESPN app and try to find a UK baseball score, it would be really hard. So I had this idea a year ago, like, man, I wish I could pay somebody to make an app to follow college baseball. And then I started researching and looking into it, and I was like, I think I could do this. And like I said, my degree is in music. My master's degree is in theology. I have nowhere where technical. I started a few computer science classes for a possible master's degree, and then I hated it. Like I just it was not teaching me what I wanted to know. So I started researching it, and I started researching programs that did vibe coding, which is the term, the poisonous term today that we'll talk about it a little more. So that's what this program is called that I'm sharing the screen of. This is Devon. It was formerly called Windsurf. And basically, what it is kind of like Claude Code, if you've watched. You talk in plain text to this program. Like you can see kind of what I've written out here. I have a couple files just so, in the sake of time, so they can build it a little faster for our conversation. But I gave it a little context about what I've done, and all in plain text. There's nothing really technical here, and just what I want it to do. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to hit start on this, and then I will stop sharing my screen. And then by the time I finish talking, it will have a polished website ready for us to talk or to look at that kind of goes with what I've been talking about today. So there's nothing created right now. So I hit this start, and you'll see it's thinking, and now it's starting to work. So I'm going to stop sharing screen, and then we'll come back to it here in a little bit. But yeah, so like I said, I was really researching. I was like, man, can I pay somebody to do this? What do I need to do? And so I just decided, I think I can do this. I think I'm going to try to make my own app. So I started doing the work in Devon, Windsurf. And let me tell you, if you're ever interested in starting something like this, don't start with an iPhone app. Those are really difficult. And I learned that the hard way. So I created an app called College Diamond, and it's basically like, just ESPN, but you go in and it's college baseball, college softball. And you can get notifications to your phone. You can do the live widgets on the home screen of your iPhone and follow the game. And this was all done by me, who I don't know how to code. And I launched it midway through the college baseball, college softball season this year. And I think it ended up with around 500 downloads by the end of the season, which is good. I've got a lot of bugs to work out before next year. I launched it way too soon. I should have done it for next year, but when in Rome, you know. Um, so from there, I was kind of like, all right, well, that was a cool venture. I can say that I did it. Neat. And then here at the beginning of June, there was a game that you all might have seen called 82 and 0, and it went like mega viral for a few weeks. And it was just a web page that you opened on your phone, and basically what it was this NBA game, and it had roulette wheels, right? And so the first roulette wheel picked an NBA team, and then the second roulette picked an era, and then it gave you that team, and you picked five players from your different roulette spins to make a starting lineup to hopefully go 82 and 0 or undefeated in the NBA. And as a Kentucky fan, we have a lot of players in the NBA in the past and in the present. So I kept trying to like fill it with NBA Kentucky players just to see how they could do. And then I kind of had the thought, okay, what if the entire game were based on just Kentucky basketball? So I'm not even saying like this was necessarily my idea. It's just an adaptation of an idea. And so before I built the College Diamond app, I probably would have just, left it there. But, that's a cool idea. Not really done anything. But I kind of had the confidence at this point. I was like, okay, this should be a little bit simpler than a full-scale iPhone app. And so one day here at the beginning of June, Spectrum went out at our church, or AT&T, sorry. AT&T went out at our church, and most of my job involves needing to have the internet and do big downloads and stuff. And so it was out. I was sitting in a hallway at the back of the church while the AT&T guy was in the closet working on our equipment. And I didn't have internet, but I connected my phone to a hotspot because, I was bored. And I needed to be around just in case the AT&T guy needed me. But so I was like, okay, let me see what I could get with just on this hotspot on my phone, on my computer to build a Kentucky basketball version of it. I built it. I published it online, sent it to a couple friends, posted it on X. And then I didn't really think anything of it. It was the weekend or the week of Vacation Bible School at our church, and Kevin knows very well that that's a very strenuous week, and I wasn't really at my phone much. And by the time I checked my phone that night, it had started to gain a following. I had tagged a couple of sports writers in it. Some of the KSR guys posted it. If you're a Kentucky fan, and then by the next day, it had 50,000 plays. I got to be on LEX 18. I got to be on Fox. I was on a couple different podcasts, and it just kind of blew up. And it was just from this simple little idea. And it's not that I just typed one thing in to AI and said, "Hey, build this out for me, have it right." Just like any other thing, when you're working on something, it takes meticulous thought and planning. You keep having to go through these things. So like the first time I plugged in, this idea for the app, it probably, I can't really remember straight offhand. I wish I had taken some screenshots because that'd be nice to see. But it probably looked terrible. It probably didn't work. It probably had just very baseline, like it would give you a year and then maybe like 2 players, whatever. So all that to be said is we're having this weird kind of shift in the AI world when we start talking about vibe coding, where basically people are likening it towards like, hey, give a monkey a hammer and then they're going to build, a building. Like they think that anybody can just sit down and make this polished thing, and that it's gonna ruin the world for software engineers and all that kind of stuff. And I don't really think that's the case. For me, I'm a Kentucky fan, and the Claude Code founder was talking about, is I'm a UK fan, so I'm probably the best kind of version of person to build a UK basketball app. I know some of the nuance of the teams. I know that Anthony Davis is going to be really good, so I should make it to where he's really good in the game. So I think it's
Dan,
just
Dan Issel's the cheat code, right?
Dan Issel's the cheat code. um, oh man. But so it's all about how much time and effort, just like anything else, how much time and effort that you're going to put into it to make a polished thing. It's not going to replace software engineers. There's still a lane for that. But what this does is this enables just the normal person like me to be able to build these ideas that if I didn't have this avenue, they would just get stuck. And so basically, Big Blue Roulette was just this little offhanded idea. I built it in about an hour. And I had to keep going back in and tweaking some things, but like the major work was done within an hour and a half. And so like in the past, this kind of idea, I would have had to find a developer, would have had to write out a big specification of like everything I wanted, how I wanted it to look. I would have had to spend thousands of dollars. I would have had to wait weeks or months. Then I would have had to see if anybody actually cared about it. I would have but how this worked, I was able to test the core idea immediately. I was able to send it out to people immediately and get feedback. And so this is just unlocking. This is like the Wright brothers creating the plane. Now we can get across the Pacific Ocean in a lot quicker time. So the most valuable thing that AI gave me that day was not the code. It gave me the ability to test the idea. And the experience changed how I thought about AI, but it also changed how I thought about my own skills. I was realizing that building software required more than the ability to write code from memory. It takes nuance. It takes preference. It takes just a keen eye. And now kind of what I'm doing with that is I had people reach out to me and say, hey, could you build me something? And I kept telling these people, and Kevin told me the other day when we were talking about this that I should stop saying this, but I'm not a developer. I am a guy that can build this. And I keep telling these people this, and they keep offering me money, and I keep saying, I'm not a developer. And they say, we don't care. You built this thing. It's cool. It looks good. We want to take what you know how to do already and kind of work with that. So I've taken this whole experience, and right now I'm contracted to work with Keller Williams Legacy Group, a guy named Dylan Ballard, who is funny enough, as a side gig, he does Kentucky sports writing. So he found Big Blue Roulette. He had this idea for an app, didn't know how to do it, and basically he saw that I made this, and he was like, okay, maybe he could make this. And so now we are in the beta phase of an app called the Local Post. And basically what this does is people go in, they log in, and they fill out all these questionnaires about, this one is for the realty market, but we're going to expand it to different type of markets and stuff. They fill out these different questionnaires about their business, their area, about themselves, context about their week, about their month. They kind of do all this legwork at the beginning, and then what it does is it sends that all to Claude in the back end. Is how it's wired. And then Claude gives them a content calendar, so they can have social media posts that will help to up their engagement. And it's not about like just this cookie cutter stuff that is just real basic and vague. It's stuff that's about them. It's taking this questionnaire stuff. and it's plugging it in. It's giving them bespoke posts that sound like them, that is their own content. Like they have the experience, they have the preferences, but they don't know how to work it. And so it's giving them these optimized posts that they can do, that are they kind of fall in three buckets, like a personal bucket, just about your life, a business bucket, and then being like the local expert, which are the things that are hitting on social media right now. So like I live in Corbin. I know that we're getting brick oven pizza in the old Bubby's building. And like I would be the local, like I would make a post about, hey, brick oven is coming. It's a really good pizza. And then that will hit somebody's algorithm. And then because I hit their algorithm on that post, my business post next might hit their algorithm. And then they might use me for work. And so that's kind of the idea on that app. But it just goes to show that you just build these ideas, and it takes it from like an idea and it puts it into practice. And it's giving me, I've been able to like work on these really real world skills of troubleshooting. I've had to learn a lot of detail orientation, so attention to detail. I've had to understand some more marketing skills that I didn't before. I've had to recognize confusing things. I've had to know how to get a product from beginning to end, so like into a published product. So these are real world skills that this vibe coding that people think is just plugging a couple words into a thing and coming out with a product. This is the kind of things that I'm learning through that.
Hey, Daniel.
Yeah.
I just want to click on that for a second, because I think that there's several folks on the call I recognize, obviously, that are in the entrepreneurial development space. We have worked with small business owners,
Mm-hmm.
and it used to be that everybody had an idea, right? Everybody had an
Mm-hmm.
idea for a business. The hard part used to be executing the idea. It
Mm-hmm.
was actually doing the thing. Now with vibe coding and with AI in particular, we're kind of seeing that flipped. The
Mm-hmm.
value is you need a really good idea, right? Big Blue Roulette worked because, like you said, it capitalized on some things that people had already seen, but it was really cool, and you understood what would make
Mm-hmm.
that work. And so the execution, in the past would have really been the barrier. But together with AI, I'm not saying it was magic, right? It didn't just, you just make it magically appear, but there's a little bit of that's happening now where we're seeing it flipped. Now with a good idea compared with someone who's really interested and willing to put in some work with AI, you can make these things happen. And so this is, like you mentioned, this is really kind of turned into a business. Not what you thought it would
Mm-hmm.
would happen, but it's kind of, made a business for it for you.
Yeah, and just kind of to say, like AI lowers the technical barriers, but it doesn't eliminate the quality barrier.
That's
So like with any other business, like um, I could be really good at building model trains. But if I go into a market that has 50 model train shops and no need for another one, then my business is going to fail. So it's all about having that good idea that's really going to stick. So it doesn't take away that quality barrier. You still, as a business person, have to have the idea. You have to have the marketing game plan. You have to have the playbook to make a good thing. So it's not just an easy button. It's just taking your knowledge and your experience and allowing it to flourish in a new way.
I think that's the big thing that I encourage people to take away all the time is they may have had in their mind an idea for an app or for a piece of software, and who knows, maybe that piece of software only benefits them. It might do something in their particular workflow that may save them an hour or 2 hours a week. Well, now it is feasible to actually pursue that and develop it and
Hmm.
launch it. It's possible as a result. So, very cool. I'm
Yeah.
curious, going back to when you first launched Big Blue Roulette, I mean, how did it feel? Or just tell us, like you said, it took you a couple of hours, but then when you got that minimum viable product, when you got the first
Mhm.
iteration and you're like, oh wow, this is working. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's just a wonderful feeling. Just to see, just like with any type of artistry that you may do, just to see kind of a product that you had in your brain. And with business owners, maybe at the beginning you were thinking, oh man, it would be really cool if I had this office, and I got to that in like 40 minutes, which AI is crazy. I was able to go from 0 to 80% finished in that 40 minutes,
Wow.
and just being able to see my exact vision go into words, the exact color schemes I wanted, the exact fonts that I wanted, and even some of the things that I didn't really have a preference with yet. I was able to mold and craft based on what it suggested for me. So it was just it's amazing just to see something that you have in your brain. And business owners, it takes like a couple of questions, like an idea like this. So, what if you always wanted to build that you couldn't afford? Like, what's a problem in your work that you maybe, man, I wish I had a fix for this software, but I can't afford it. What process in my business does not have a good software solution? Like even for our church, I built us an app, a really simple app for checking out our buses. And there are a lot of big companies that do these fleet management softwares that are really expensive. We have 3 buses and a box truck through our church, and we've had a horrible time managing them. We tried Google Sheets, whatever, did not work. So I built this app, and it's been really good. It's helped us to keep track of the buses. So that's one of those. We did not have a good software solution. What information is trapped in spreadsheets, emails, people's heads? How can you get it out? What service could I provide if some of my repetitive work were automated? What have I dismissed because I'm not a technical person? And then what could a small team accomplish that previously required a large one? Those are the type of questions that you have to ask yourself when you're wanting to build something like this. Um, and that's how you come with those good ideas. Sometimes they may be pretty niche, but that doesn't mean they're any less useful.
Yeah, I love that. That is so valuable for people, and just the mindset to have when you go into doing anything with AI is really, again, not necessarily. I mean, the tools are important. Don't let somebody say they're not important, but the first thing you got to focus on is what's the problem you're trying to solve, what's the opportunity you're trying to address, what is it that you're wanting to create. Start with the goal, and then you can figure out the tools. So with that, let's talk a little bit about the tools for those who may be curious. Just sort of, you mentioned Devon, and
Mhm.
that's kind of, I mean, that is your core tech stack, right? Because it
Mhm.
has access to your large language models inside of that developer platform. Can you talk a little bit more about Devon, sort of how it works,
Yeah,
and what people might encounter?
I can share my screen here. I actually think our website is done.
Okay.
Um, so let's see here. Let's pull it up. So this happened, and let's see. I asked it to track the time that it took, and let me see. It took around 4 minutes to create what we're about to look at. Um, so I just plugged in some of the talking points that I was going to talk about today, and it built this while I was talking to you all. It included some screenshots from the apps that I've created. This was a College Diamond. Um, it put in some quotes that I had put in. It included screenshots from Big Blue Roulette. It talks about the time that it took me to make it. It talked about day one, 50,000, following week, 150,000 plays. It took all the context and turned it into this website that, companies used to pay $50,000 to get a website that looked similar to this. And I'm not saying that this is a polished product. There's probably some typos in here, or some weird quirks and stuff. Um, but so yeah, it just so this is Devin. So this is basically on this left here is kind of where you talk to the AI. So the nice thing about it is you can use all different kinds of models, and you've probably heard of a lot of these before. You've got ChatGPT, you've got Gemini, you've got Claude, you've got this adaptive model which goes between the different models as it pertains to the tasks that you're giving it. So if you're into AI, you probably know like not every model works for everything. So like Claude, for instance, is really good at doing kind of the wordsmithing, right? So excuse me, taking making documents, that kind of thing, doing deep thinking. ChatGPT is really good at problem solving. Gemini is kind of in between. So different models have different use cases, and so like I can flip between these models, and basically I just give it. So like I could say right now, turn the whole website pink. That wouldn't be a good idea, but it's going to do it for me. That's where it takes this, the technical skill. I don't have to have it, but I still have to have good ideas. And this is not a good idea, and it's going to look terrible when it's done. But basically, what it's doing is it's thinking through the code, and it shows you what code it's even having to change. So I bet if we flip back over and refresh, yeah, now the whole website is pink, and it looks terrible. But
It's tastefully done.
yeah. But so that's just from me saying the words turn the whole website pink. And then it goes in here and it sees the code for the color. So this is kind of the code base that's working on. And so in that 4 minutes, it created 416 lines of code that I have no idea what it's doing. Because I'm not a coder. But I had the idea, I had the roadmap. And so yeah, there's a coding version of it. There's an ask, so it can look at your code base and you can just have a conversation with it to maybe get some ideas for the future. It won't change anything. It'll just give you some recommendations. And you've got a planning thing. So you can take a huge plan of your full idea and it'll create like this roadmap where it'll give itself different sectionable items or actionable items that it can do on this checklist for your big plan. And so it's a wonderful tool. I can talk to it if I want to. I don't even have to be able to type. So I mean, it really kind of takes this technical knowledge and just bypasses it and puts it in your hands.
Can you talk a little bit about like the cost of using Devon and sort of, I mean, we don't have to get too technical, but I think most people are familiar with tokens and kind of how, that sort of becomes the unit economics of AI. But, can you talk a little bit about what your costs are to sort of run Devon and what it would cost you per month, subscription, those types of things?
Yeah. So I actually don't pay any AI subscription. So I don't pay for ChatGPT. I don't pay for Gemini. I am a dad of 3 with 2 under the age of 2. I pay for diapers and formula. I do not pay for AI. So I pay $15 a month for Devon, and it has all the functionality that I need to build this app for cheaper than it costs for Netflix for a month. And basically what it does is it gives you a certain amount of AI tokens that you can use in a day. It'll reset at midnight and give you that usage again. But if you see these little, it won't let me zoom on it. But if you see these, the little cost bar here, it kind of shows you how much the model you're wanting to use is going to cost. So like Fable is probably the highest cost. So I can't really use Fable for much. Fable's amazing. It can do a huge amount of work on some of this, but basically, I don't have to go into GPT and pay for a subscription for it to be on here. It's part of what's on here. And then even Devon, when you're a subscriber, they will give you promotional models. So like this is GLM, um, which is through Zimi, right? Is that what it?
Yeah.
What? Yeah, which I'm pretty sure is Chinese, but we don't have to talk about that. It's a really good model, and they're giving it to subscribers for free right now. So I can build as much as I want to for free without any limits. With Zemi or with GLM and a couple different other models that are free. So it's a really cool system, and I'm only paying $15 a month, and I'm basically going to be able to start my whole business off of just this $15 a month subscription. And now I might need to up the usage limits at some point, which I think is like $200 a month, but I don't make nearly enough money for that yet. So I'm going to continue as is. And then when it becomes a problem, maybe I'll upgrade. But just for an average hobbyist that wants to do stuff like this, $15 a month is, 2 cups of Starbucks. It's less than Netflix, to do
Yeah.
some really cool stuff.
So maybe we should explain. Kasha in the chat is saying, what is Devon? So Devon is what's called an IDE, right?
Mhm.
Daniel is the best way. So integrated development environment. And so
Yep.
Devon is really the platform that lets you do coding, but as Daniel's shown, it already has these connections to the large language models through APIs, I'm sure. And so that's how it can use any model that Daniel wants to use. That's how he can use it is through by paying just one subscription inside of that coding platform. Devin handles all those back end connections for him. But what else would you add to that just to explain to the person who's never been familiar with Devin what is Devin? How would you describe it
Mhm.
otherwise?
Uh, so like let's say that you had to go to court for something. Um, Basically, you're on trial or you're being sued or something. I hope you're not, but you have to have that lawyer as an intermediary to take the plain text, like your understanding of how things happened, and put it into law speak for the judge, for the jury. And interpret it through the law. And that's kind of what Devin is doing. It's taking your natural speech um, and turning it into code. It's that intermediary between you and the computer, turning it into a language that the computer can understand and write.
That's a great explanation. I just looked at their website. They call it the AI software engineer, which is efficient and I think also a great way to frame it for sure. Now Dan is curious, can Devin do other things beside code? Can it, for instance, create art? What other types of files can
Hmm.
it produce besides code? But really code is the basis for all things, right? In terms of digital images and all those things. But what have you found other use cases besides just straight code?
Yeah, not not a ton. So like, but code is like you talked about. Code is more integrated than you think. So a couple different things that I've done, right, is in email you can do what's called HTML, and if any of you use Mailchimp, right, it can take your text and make it into these beautiful like mailers, right, and basically I can type out an email into Devin, and I can say convert this to a beautiful HTML email with my branding, my letterhead, all this kind of stuff, and it'll turn it into that HTML text that you can plug back into Gmail and turn into a beautiful mailer. I've had it build database scrapers. So how I got the info for Big Blue Roulette um, is there's a guy named John Scott who has a website since like 1998 where he just plugs in Kentucky stats. And so I had Devin, I said, "Hey, I've got this website. There's infos on the website, but I have no idea how to get it into the app." And basically, it built this program that looked through the website and got all the different information that I needed and put it into a form that on my computer, basically in like an Excel sheet. So
Yeah.
um,
And I will mention this too, just so people are aware, there are multiple tools that do what Devin does at different levels. There are some that are kind of the co-pilot, if you will, to a professional software engineer that they kind of use with established code bases. There are some that really kind of market themselves as vibe coding assistants. So you have things like Lovable or Replit. Cursor. Cursor was just purchased by XAI. So there's all sorts of different platforms that do this. And then additionally, I will say, you also get a significant level of this capability is now native inside the foundational models. So Claude Code, for instance, you can do a lot of this inside of Claude Code. You could do a lot of this inside of ChatGPT Codex. What you don't get that Devin and some of the others have that's really nice is the ability to choose those different models and be able to switch back and forth really quickly. Because if you're using Claude Code, well, you're going to have to use a Claude model. If you're using ChatGPT Codex, you're going to be using a ChatGPT model. So yeah, it can get into some nuance there, but it's important to recognize that again, this is one of those capabilities that is only going to increase, and it's going to become, in the hands of people who maybe have never thought that they could do something like this before. And that's what I think is just so cool about it. So Daniel, what are you up to next? I know you mentioned one project, but where are you hoping to take this coding thing now that you are a coder?
Yeah, so I'll have to join the SBDC on more stuff. I launched my LLC last week, Reeves Digital Systems. I bought a domain, made a website, and I'm starting to do kind of some discovery calls with people to kind of build out these plans, to be able to do this for other people and take their ideas and turn them into like a real product.
I love that.
So yeah, I'm trying to learn the business world right now. And who would have thought me creating a stupid little Kentucky basketball game would lead to that? But the Lord works in mysterious ways, you know.
That's very true. Well, this has been awesome. Folks, if you have any other questions for Daniel, feel free to post them in the chat. I know we're coming up on the top of the hour here very shortly. So we'll be shutting down in a moment. But if you have other questions, yeah, Daniel, go ahead and post your website in the chat if you don't mind, so people can learn more about you. Melissa says, can Devin be considered a type of agent that can manage other AIs? I don't know. How would you frame that? I'm not sure I would say it can manage other AIs. It's really more about the coding and being able to build something, but not necessarily managing other AIs. But would you take that different, Daniel?
I would think of it more as like if you're trying to build a house, you talk to different contractors, right? You talk to one that maybe specializes in bathrooms. You talk to one that maybe does flooring really well. It's kind of telling or helping you be able to switch between those contractors really easily to build your house, you know.
Yeah, that's good. Very good. I will encourage folks, if you've not had a chance, if you're not on our mailing list and you'd like to be notified of upcoming resources and workshops like this, feel free to scan the QR code here and fill out the form, and we'll certainly notify you when we have additional workshops and webinars. But this has been really good. I do want to, before we close things out officially, I do always try to tie in at least one little nugget related to cybersecurity, which may seem unrelated, but it's important in the AI space to understand that with AI, the bad guys get access to AI too. Can you believe that? So it's not just that we can create cool things, but there are some nefarious actors out there who are really taking advantage. So it pays to be aware of some things that are happening in the space that you need to watch out for. One of those is this recent study that basically said cyber attacks in the first 4 months of this year are up 5 times what they were all of last year. And because a big reason is because people are searching for AI tools. And so what these guys are doing is they're placing in some cases paid ads or websites that are just phishing attempts to try to capture people who are looking for things. So always make sure that when you are looking at these tools, Go to the official apps. Make sure you're not clicking on an ad that you might see somewhere. You want to make sure you're especially cautious if you're installing something to your computer and your devices. But like everything we saw today, you can actually find that through a good web search. Don't just fall victim or become prey for some of these hackers, because they are on the lookout for this. And thank you, Daniel, right on cue for posting the official link to Devon. So with that, again, I want to thank you all. And yeah, let me put the QR code back up here in case you want to sign up. There it is. And thank you for that, Dan. Daniel, thank you so very much again, man. I appreciate you so much for taking time out of your day and sharing with us. This has been wonderful. Wish you all the best with this, and I know you're going to do some incredible things with these newfound powers and abilities. So,
oh yeah, I'll be asking you more questions. Be ready.
Always. All right, folks. Thank you all so very much. Appreciate your attendance. Happy National AI Day. And hit us up. Let us know what topics you would like us to explore further on our next episode of What's New and What's Next with AI. So thank you all. Have a great day.